Do you have an internet business? Many of you do. If you do, listen up. This is a story about Tamara and William. They got married at a young age. She was 19, he was 21. He had a decent job at the time. He was working at a local warehouse. Tamara wasn't working at all when they got married, but soon after they got married, she started an online-based business. Now, her business consisted of her showing different makeup and beauty tips. I don't understand it, but apparently that's a thing. Apparently it can make money. It started out as just a hobby, but soon after that, it started making money. And by the time they filed for divorce, about 7 years later, her little hobby was making over $200,000 a year, far more than what William was making. Now, at first, William wasn't interested in the little hobby and thought it was ridiculous. That is, until he spoke to his divorce attorney and he realized it's a legitimate business, it's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it's marital property, meaning he has an interest in that business even though he didn't start it and doesn't have anything to do with it. The problem is, how do you value such a business? Well, believe it or not, there are actually companies out there that will look at the business and give it a value. They will value internet business. The issue with this business was whether the business had a value apart from Tamara. In other words, if the business was sold and she was no longer involved in the business, would it still make money? Or was she such an integral part of that business that you couldn't separate the business from her? Well, as it turned out, the business had an estimated value after the valuator analyzed it of about $450,000. They finally agreed that William would keep his entire 401k, which at the time was worth about $275,000. She would keep the business, but she would pay William $75,000 as his share of the business at the rate of $2,500 a month for 3 years. Valuating these businesses can be tricky. Those businesses can be somewhat speculative. They depend on the platform that you're on, the reputation that you have, the whims of your viewers. The valuator will look at things like revenue stream, inventory, if you have inventory, debt, intellectual property rights that you might have, operating cost. Then there are additional intangible assets that they're going to look at, such as the time spent building the business, the effort required to maintain the relationships of the customers you have. All those things will be taken into consideration. But if you have a business, an internet business, and you're married and you're contemplating divorce, keep in mind that that business is probably worth some money.